Do you ever feel like you might be throwing your life away? Do you feel like you're wasting time? Do you feel like if you continue to stay on the same path, you're going to look up and have a lot of regrets about the things you did and didn't do? Unfortunately, I'm not going to be the guru or the person who's going to tell you that everything is going to be okay. There are some clear and definitive signs that you are throwing your life away, and you're probably going to watch this video and you're going to identify with some of the things that I'm going to mention. And I'm not putting this video together to make you feel bad. I'm not putting this video together to get you upset. I'm using some of these harsh realizations to give you the room that you need to change. I'm going to provoke you a little bit so that you can get yourself on the right track. And I'm someone who talks about self-improvement, and I know how futile the process can be. I know that even knowing the warning signs is not sufficient enough to change. You're still going to have to do that on your own. But what I'm going to do is try to provide as much signaling and provocation and motivation through the lens of frustration to get you to change. So we're going to walk through some of these signs that you're throwing away your life. But before we get to those signs, make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit the little notification bell so you can get brand new videos the moment that they come out. That notification bell is very important because it's going to give you those videos right away so we can continue working with each other on the self-improvement journey. Okay, let's take a look at some of the signs that you're wasting your life or throwing away your life. The number one sign that you're throwing away your life or wasting your life is that you are spending it doing things that you don't want to do. That is where the anxiety comes from. That is where the feelings of quiet desperation come from. It's the mismatch between the things that you actually want to be doing with your life and the things that you are really doing with your life. So I'm not one of these people who says that you have to be an entrepreneur, make a bunch of money, be a content creator, be a self-improvement pornographer. You don't have to do any of those things to feel successful. The only thing that you have to do to feel successful is try to closely align yourself with something that you want to do. So there are people in all different industries who may or may not be aligned with their purpose. You can be an accountant who is aligned with your purpose, or you can be an accountant who is miserable. You can be wealthy and be aligned with your purpose, or you can be wealthy and you can be miserable. You can be poor or just broke or working class and be aligned with your purpose, or you can be poor, broke, and miserable. Now that's one area where your brokenness and your poorness has a little bit to do with your happiness or unhappiness. That's another aside, but the point is, it's not what you do, it's why you do it. So for me, things like content creation, writing, video, communication, public speaking, these were always things that I already had a little bit of a penchant for. They were things that I knew in the back of my mind that I wanted to do someday. Maybe I didn't know specifically how I wanted things to pan out, and you don't need to know specifically how you want things to pan out before you start. But I had a general sense that I was interested in these things. I had a general sense that I wanted to work for myself. I had a general sense that I wanted to be a businessman of some sort. And I knew that if I ended up doing something, working for someone else, working in a corporate job for a long period of time, it was going to be a failure for me. So this is about the way that you define your success. And what a lot of people will do is they'll fall below their potential, and they'll come up with these rationalizations and these stories to help them cope. So maybe you're in a job that you don't really like, but it has good benefits, you make good pay, you have flexible hours, you don't hate your boss, so it's okay. But I still feel like you're wasting your life because you're trading away what you could be doing instead, something that's much more engaging. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but it's a better match. So if you have a wild mismatch between what you're doing and what you really could be doing, you're throwing your life away. And again, this is not me trying to make you feel bad. It's a call to action to wake you up. And yes, the steps to getting to where you want to go, some alternative life path to what you're doing now, is insanely difficult. Anyone who tells you that it's not, they're just lying. Anyone who tells you that becoming what you really want to be is easy is lying, because the vast majority of people don't do it. this is super hard, or else everyone else would be doing it. So I'm not going to hide that reality from you. I'm just going to tell you what the results might be if you decide not to do what you really want to do with your life. You'll end up suffering from the tragedy of banality, meaning that your life won't be terrible, but you will kind of suffer this death by 1,000 cuts, going day in and day out, doing things that you know at your core are not aligned with who you really are. Sign number 2 that you're throwing away your life. And this one is one that hits home for me because it was a situation that I myself was in. You're throwing your life away if you are maintaining a relationship that you no longer want to be in. So the primary example for this is your romantic relationships, but this could also apply to being in a toxic friend group that you don't want to be in, or having a business partner you no longer want to associate with. Anything where you're putting yourself in a position, staying in a social situation, a relationship situation you don't want because you're afraid to exit that relationship and be alone. You're afraid of, or not even afraid, you just don't want to let go of all that investment that you've made into that relationship that you have with someone. And this one is one where I can't give you relationship advice. I don't know what your relationship is. There can be a situation where sticking it out with your partner could be the right move. Maybe it's not fatal flaws in the relationship and you could work on things. But far too often people get caught in the trap of A, settling in the relationships, and B, holding on to their relationships for far too long, maybe even forever, knowing that things are not the way that they should be. And this is something that will cause you a lot of turmoil, pain, and stress in your life if you continue down the road. There's few things more tragic than two people who maybe could find love elsewhere, maybe could find better relationships elsewhere, maybe could find happiness elsewhere, and they get caught into this bind where you see some of these elements of quiet desperation kind of piling on top of each other. You got the job that you hate, you have the relationship that you don't really want to be in, and all of these things overlap and they start to suck away at your soul. Now again, the answer isn't just to ditch every relationship when it's not perfect. The answer isn't just to ditch every scenario with somebody else, whether it's a friend or a coworker or a business partner, just because it's not perfect. But it's to listen to that signal in your gut when you really, really know that it's not the right situation for you. And again, I can't tell you what to do, but I can only tell you the consequences of not doing it quickly enough. I was in a relationship that I should have cut off way earlier, and waiting longer for the relationship to end didn't make the end any easier, and it only wasted more time. And of course, there are all different factors involved, whether you have kids, you have property, you have assets. There's a lot of things that go into this. But I can just see, I'm just making observations that staying in a relationship you know you're not supposed to be in can have a calamitous impact on your life, and waiting to end it isn't going to make the process any easier, and you'll only have wasted more time. The next sign that you're wasting your life is that you're using entertainment, distractions, even substances as a substitute or a distraction or a coping mechanism, okay? So in my case, I watch Netflix, I like TV shows, I watch movies, I go out for drinks with friends. I don't work all the time. I'm not a self-improvement robot. I even will dabble in some illegal drugs that I'm not going to mention on YouTube due to the YouTube overlords, but I'm not a square, okay? I have fun in my life. There's a time for leisure and there's a time for work. But you'll notice that there are certain people who don't seem to be doing these things for fun. They're not doing them for leisure. They're doing them because they have to do them. They're doing them because what goes on in their life is so underwhelming or even painful that they have to use these distractions, these substances, these experiences to fill a void. And this is what you see going on. I'm kind of, painting this caricature of the everyday man or woman in society. And I just use generalizations because it's the easiest way to make a point. So see where this applies for you. You have someone who they go from the job they don't like, they go home to the partner they don't like, And then they don't even really want to talk to each other. So what do? They plop on the Netflix to distract each other. They go out to the winery on the weekends to distract each other. They go out for happy hour after work to get that distraction. They go for golf with their buddies and barbecues and watching football every day to have that distraction, when they could be using this time for more meaningful and valuable activities. And again, you can have the best of both worlds. I talk about this example quite a bit. Let's say that you have a project that you want to work on, or let's say you want to build new habits, say getting in shape, something like that, right? If you wanted to spend some time doing it, you could easily carve out, not easily, but you can carve out time in your day to get these things done and still enjoy your life. So let's say, for example, you want to spend your weekends doing some of these activities. You could easily wake up at 8 in the morning, work for 4 hours, be done at noon, and still have the rest of the day to do whatever you wanted. So get rid of this idea that you can't do both at the same time. And also, some people will use leisure as an excuse. They'll say, hey, I need to wind down after such a stressful week. What I'll say is that you could probably be better off trading some of that short-term pain for long-term flexibility. So people will continue to reward themselves for negative behaviors, reward themselves for that crappy job by going out every weekend, saying they need to unwind and reload, but they just put themselves in a constant loop where they're going to get stressed out, reload, and do this for the rest of their life. Why not spend some of that time where you're reloading, maybe adding on a little bit of stress to get yourself out of that situation so that you no longer have to be in a situation where you got to cope and unwind and reload to deal with everything that's gone on throughout the week. Spend some extra time doing the extra work so you don't have to continue living this Groundhog Day existence. The next sign that you're wasting your life or you're throwing away your life is that you're giving up way too much of your time to people and obligations that don't deserve it. You don't need to give equal weight to all of your obligations. You definitely don't need to give equal weight to the time you spend dealing with people. And this is a trap many of us find ourselves in. We're stretched so thin because we have all of these obligations and we have these errands that we have to run, and we have to say yes to everybody. But you're not going to be able to build a successful life. You're not going to be able to carve out time to do things that are meaningful to you unless you learn to create boundaries. You have to learn how to say no. You have to learn that not all obligations are created equal. And I often talk about, instead of using the concept of time management, use the concept of priority management. Don't say that you don't have time to do something. Just be honest with yourself and with the other parties involved that you can't make it a priority for you right now. Time is an excuse that we use. And weirdly, we give this excuse that we don't have time for things, but we never actually spend our time doing the things that we actually want to do. We say, I don't have time, I'm doing all these errands. Well, maybe if you focused on priority management instead of time management, you would have more time. You would stop feeling like time was slipping by through your fingers. Time will actually slow down if you create prioritizations in your schedule to do things that are meaningful to you. You want to make sure that you're always prioritizing yourself, your family, your community, your tribe, those things before everyone else. And then you'll see what to do with what's left, and you'll have so much more energy because you've fulfilled your purposes first. You've filled your cup first. You put on your mask first before putting the oxygen mask on other people. Take care of yourself first. Prioritize your time and your priorities first. Then you'll have time for other people, and you won't waste your entire life to all of these endless and often useless obligations. The last sign that you're wasting your life is you're basing your activities more based on what other people think than based on the things that you really want to do. And this is tough. This is something that we all deal with because human beings are social animals. We derive our status in comparison to other people. We need to know what other people think so that we can have that social cohesion and know our place on the totem pole and be a part of the tribe. But to really be successful, or not even successful, just to follow a path that most people don't follow, it's going to require a bit of isolation. It's going to require feeling a little bit lonely. It's going to require not always fitting in. It's going to require maybe being the tall poppy that gets cut down. But at the end of the day, when it comes to dealing with other people, you have to understand what other people are really like. So there's this quote from Marcus Aurelius, and he says, "You want the approval of people who kick themselves every 15 minutes. You want the approval of people who despise themselves." So you see all the little neuroticism, the neurotic elements to your own mind, your own self-doubt, your own insecurities. Everybody else has that same stuff. So why are you worried about their opinions, right? We always have this idea in our mind that everyone else has it more together than us and that their opinions matter more. You know, there's another quote from Marcus Aurelius that says, "How is it that we love ourselves the most, but we treat everyone else's opinion more highly than our own?" So it's just a weird human quirk that we have. And to overcome it, got to understand what other people's minds are like, and you have to understand whose opinions you value. So if you look at someone's life and they don't have the life that you want, why would you value their opinion? Why would you let them lord over what you could be doing with your life when they're not even getting the right results themselves? So these are all basic prescriptions of self-improvement that you already know. But guess what? My entire channel, my entire philosophy, everything I write, speak, and communicate are basic self-improvement tips that you already know, but you need to follow them. So follow them, listen to the tips in this video, watch some other videos, and begin the path to no longer wasting your life. A great step to begin that process would be buying this book, Real Help, An Honest Guide to Self-Improvement. It's going to walk you through how to begin no longer wasting your life and actually living the life you want. Check that out in YouTube. It's on the description below. IG, all other platforms, the link will be posted somewhere, or you can just go Google it. Make sure to find that book. I appreciate you very, very much for watching this video. Last, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell so you get brand new videos when they come out. Check the description below. There's a bunch of cool links and awesome resources down there. There should be some videos popping up in front of your face right now. Make sure you go and check those out, and I will see you on the next video.